For skill development number 2, we're going to be using ArcGIS Online to explore social information and data that we can pull into the design process. Where a lot of this information comes from is the U.S. Census Bureau. We can explore census data by going to the census website. The census website is going to provide us with access to all manner of different information that is both collected through the decadal census, so that it was just collected here in 2020. But there's also the American Community Survey, which is something that's collected on a biannual basis to collect more information about trends on population, trends on wealth, and other things that are occurring within our communities. As I sit here and wait for this to go ahead and scroll down, one of the things that you're going to see is that census data is usually connected with maps. And so a lot of the reason for this is that the census does a fantastic job of collecting site-specific information. Now, they don't reveal information about any given household in the country, but what they do is that they group that information together into census blocks. Those census blocks can provide us with information about neighborhoods, towns, cities, states in this case. Looking at Indiana, you can find information about population, about median household income, the poverty rate, the employment rate. You can go down and you can explore health or housing information and actually start to zoom in and look at information both at the state level, but also at the county, town, or neighborhood level. Now, the census website has come a long way, and there are opportunities where you can customize your map or export or share that information, but that's usually not enough. So ArcGIS Online has actually developed a series of tools. So ESRI provides us with something called Community Analyst. To access Community Analyst, the application, you need to sign into your ArcGIS Online account. Go ahead and click on the sign in link. And here there's a small pause in the video, just as ArcGIS Online goes ahead and allows me to navigate to this particular login website. But what we're really looking for here is to get you to the Purdue two-factor authentication that's going to allow you to log in. And if you've logged into ArcGIS Online before, you should see a screen that looks like this. It allows you to click on Purdue University. But if not, there's going to be an option for you to log in through an enterprise login. And the enterprise login requires that you just type in all is one word, Purdue University, into the list, or into the name, and it's going to allow you to then go ahead and kick into a login screen that should look like your two-factor authentication. Once you're there, you will be go ahead and directed into ArcGIS Online. Within ArcGIS Online, you can go over to the application menu and find Community Analyst. So in the process of opening Community Analyst, it's going to allow us to gain access to this demographic analysis application that ESRI has developed specifically to support design and planning projects like the ones that we work on. And you're going to see here that there's an option for creating a new project. So if you've never created a new project before, you can go ahead and click on that. It will take about 2 minutes to go ahead and create all of the online file structure support behind this as it goes ahead and creates it. I've already done that step, so you can see that I'm just going to go ahead and hit open and go ahead and go into my project for skill development number 2. The first thing that we have to do is we talked about the connection between demographic information and maps is we have to define the area of interest, the area that we want to describe. And so within the application, you can go to define areas, and you'll see that there's 3 unique options here. If you go ahead and define by geography, you can go ahead and search for the state of Indiana. And when you click on in the state, it'll allow you to go ahead and click that link to Indiana. And once you click finish, it will create the state of Indiana, which will bring up a number of options for how you can pull up different information. I want you to go ahead and explore this and take a look at all of the available options as you're working your way through, as you look through all of the data that's available here in Community Analyst. But the infographics tend to be where a lot of us go for quick information. One, it's graphic in nature. It's easy to go ahead and bring it into our project. We can export these individually into, so that we can go ahead and edit them, edit the colors and make them fit within our overall presentation. But we can also go through, instead of just looking at key facts, we can go ahead and pull up infographics for a number of other reports, everything from housing information to jobs and economic factor variables that influence the overall health of a community. This one looks at transportation metrics in terms of community commute profile for individual communities. You can see for the state of Indiana that largely we're driving to work. That shouldn't come as too big of a shock considering our lack of public transit options here in the state. But again, you can start to do this comparison between different communities just by selecting a new geography and comparing the infographics that become available for your first geography with the second place that you want to study. Once again, I would encourage you to go ahead and take a broader look around at this. But the other thing that we're going to do next is that I'm going to have you go ahead and close out of this menu. We're actually going to go ahead and remove our study area by going at, well, first off, we're just going to go ahead and search for a new study area. And so again, Indiana, and then we're actually looking for Tippecanoe County here. And so we're going to type in Tippecanoe County and go ahead and pull this up. Right, so now we have a new study area. We can go in and pull up infographics and other data about the study area. And you can see that it's very similar to what I did at the state level in that I'm just going ahead and exploring the information that's available to me here at the county level. The last thing that we're going to do is we're going to, well, one, I wanted to show you here about reports. And so you can certainly pull up the reports. The reports have more information than the infographics do, and so you can learn more about a specific place. You can start to do deep dives into the kind of retail expenditures that people take within these specific communities, these specific areas, to start to understand broad general trends that will influence our program as we develop site plans. This could be things like demand for public park space. It could be demand for bike recreation. It could be looking at overall housing trends and how many people are seeking out homes that are non-traditional, so non-single family. So looking at condos or apartments or townhomes or other things. A lot of that information is actually collected and maintained by the Census Bureau. But the other unique feature is that we can actually define out a study area that is based on walking or driving distance. And so this is what this next step in the process and the focus of our assignment here does, is that I want you to go ahead and zoom in just for this moment in time. Go ahead and zoom in on the horticulture building. So locate the hort building. And you're going to see that I'm actually going to step back here and I'm going to go ahead and clear my other selections just so that I'm removing some of the confusion that goes along with this. Right, so I'm going to go ahead and just clear all of those, right? So I can create a new point. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop that point on top of the horticulture building, and then I'm actually going to select walking distances. And what it's going to do is it's going to define a geography for me based on a set walking distance away from the horticulture building. And what this allows us to do is it allows us to start to get place-specific information or site-level data about general trends and demographics that are influencing the overall use and function of our sites. So you'll see here that I'm playing around with the different options for walking time. If you want just a 5-minute or a 10-minute walking circle, all you need to do is go ahead and delete the other options and it will just define one area instead of 3. But you'll see here that I've defined 5, 10, and 15-minute walking distances. And very similar to the data exploration that we've done at both the county and state level, you can now go ahead and pull up this information for the 5-minute walking distance. And then you can pull it up for the 10-minute walking distance and the 15-minute walking distance as well. And again, this is, gives you access to all of this information that's out there and available to the public from the U.S. Census Bureau. The assignment then where it's going to take you next is that the assignment is going to ask you to identify a walkable mixed-use neighborhood somewhere in the United States. And this preferably should be someplace you've visited before. What I'm going to ask you to do is run this 15-minute walking distance from what you consider to be the central node within that area. You're then going to identify 5 key planning characteristics, and you can see that there's a lot more than that available here in all of the information, but just go explore and find 5 interesting things about the study area. The next thing I want you to do is I want you to rerun that analysis of the 15-minute walking circle, and I want you to base it on top of the new Target store here in the Village in West Lafayette, located at the corner of State and Northwestern Avenue. Then the assignment sheet will go ahead and ask you to create a 1 to 2 page professional report comparing the findings of what you found in your walkable neighborhood with our own village here in West Lafayette. Certainly, as what you're seeing here in the background with the video is going on, is that you can see that you can actually set it up and run comparisons. And so it's walking through how to actually define 2 geographies and then run a comparison report. But this isn't necessary to complete this assignment. You can do them individually without running through the comparison tools. This is just one way for those of you who want to explore more about how to use the Community Analyst tool. I wanted to at least show you that this exists and is available to you. With that in mind, I'll go ahead and wrap up the audio on this. I bet you can tell at this point in time that the audio failed on the first attempt, and so this is actually me speaking over the top of the original video to cover all of the details on this. But be sure to explore and learn what you can about Community Analyst.